Hey there everyone, I'm Veronica Belmont and welcome to another edition of Prizefight. Do you love blogging but just find that you don't have enough time to sit down and post a well thought out entry? Never fear. You just need a good mini blogging solution. Today we throw a couple of Web 2.0 tacular sites up against one another. Twitter versus jakiu. Let's get it started with round one, sexiness. You can change the look of both these sites to an extent by adding your own background image and changing text color, for example. So a lot of how they look is a direct reflection of how you make them. However, I personally prefer the layout of jakiu in this case. Rounded edges get me every time, and I like those little speech bubbles. Jakiu gets a 5 and Twitter gets a 4. Next round is features. Twitter is very simple, but there are some neat things that you can do with it. For example, by typing the @ symbol and username, you can reply to someone's post and a link will show up in your response. It will automatically create tiny URLs to shrink down long web addresses, and other websites use Twitters to make maps and lists of most popular people. jakiu has a lot of features. You can see all the comments to your posts, add multiple feeds to your profile, like from last.fm, Flickr, and even Twitter, so people can get updates from all of your social networking sites. jakiu gets a 5 and Twitter gets a 3. Coming up next is interface. The interfaces are very similar. On the top here, there's an area to enter in text, 140 characters for both, and then underneath you can see what your friends have been writing. The Twitter interface could not be easier to use. The right-hand side shows you your friends, your direct messages, favorite posts, your most recent posts, etc. The layout on jakiu is similar, except for this large area about the Nokia phones, which doesn't go away unless you have a phone that's compatible with their mobile software. More features means a more complicated interface. Twitter gets a 5 and jakiu gets a 4. Up next is mobility. Twitter really stands out in this category. You can update from almost anywhere. Text messages, IMs, and numerous widgets and apps that have been written, like Twitterific, for example. All great in theory, but there have been a lot of outages lately, especially for the IM. I imagine this will be fixed shortly though. jakiu, as I mentioned, works with Nokia phones running the S60 OS. There is a number for sending in posts over the phone, but it doesn't seem to work in the US yet for most people anyway. Twitter gets a 4 and jakiu gets a 3. So final round now, popularity. This may seem like a weird round, but it's pretty important in the social networking sphere. Hands down, Twitter's population is much larger, and you're probably more likely to find people that you know on it than the newer jakiu. Twitter gets a 5 for this final round, and jakiu gets a 3. Well, the final scores are in, and Twitter has a 21 and jakiu has a 20. That was a close one. Both sites are a lot of fun to use, and a great way to take your productivity down a notch. If you have suggestions for a prize fight, send them in to prizefight@cnet.com. Thanks to the guys at webware.com for helping this battle. I'm Veronica Belmont. I'll see you next time.
For more video like this, go to cnet.com and click on CNET TV.